Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Engine House. I am your host, of course, Gandy Dancer, and once again you'll notice I am not in the engine house. This time of the year with the furnace going every few minutes, it's rather noisy down there in my basement hideaway, the engine house. So it's much easier for me to shoot up here. Of course, that means I have to run the lovely wife out of the dining room when she wants to do something. But such is life. Okay, I know last week I talked about I wasn't going to do anything with the sides of this building. And then I decided that there was going to be an alleyway on one side or the other, or even possibly both. And should I decide to move the building to another location, of course, it would be nice if the sides were finished. Eventually, where it's going to go on the layout, this is going to be sitting on a smaller base with a sidewalk in front of it, and again, an alley on one side or the other with another building sitting here. So, without further ado, I did brick it all the way around. I still need to put some brick here, but that's not going to happen right now. So there'll be, of course, a flat roof in here when I'm done. So the brick that will go here later. So anyway, we have some few things to get to here. I'm going to make some trim, which is going to look like concrete when I'm done, and some of the window trim that's going to go in, and I'll have the camera over here in a minute so you can see a little better what I'm doing. But I cut some 1/2-inch strips of cardboard this morning and I folded them. Of course, 1/48 means 1 inch equals 4 feet. So these being 1/2 inch and then folded in half means it's a foot on each corner, a foot on each side. And these are going to go right here on the corners. Okay, they're going to look like, I'm going to be painting these up to look like cement. And we'll get to that here in a minute. And then, of course, I also used some 1/4 inch that I cut that were clapboards for the other building I'm working on, and I folded some of this in half. It takes a little doing, and I wrecked a little bit of it up here, but most of it's usable. That's going to be window frame for part of the framework in the window rather than balsa wood. I think on this building it's going to look better. So anyway, without further ado, I will move the camera where you can see it a little better what I'm doing right here. We're going to start off with some painting. I have my trusty paper towels. I have a paintbrush around here somewhere. Here it is. And of course I have the material I'm working with. So let's get started. Okay, the advantage of some of this, and you're not going to be able to see a whole lot of me in this because I'd rather have you looking at the work here. I do now have a camcorder here, and one advantage of this over the phone is I have a view screen here, so when I'm trying to show you something I can make sure it's in the frame. I know on some of my others using the phone sometimes the work wasn't in frame and it kind of ruined things. So let's get started here. Again, here's a little better close-up of the half-inch pieces, and I will show you how we do this. And then of course I folded it and I'm going to paint it to make it look like cement. I'm using slate gray. Okay, slate gray. It's going to look a little like dark concrete, and here is, of course, the 1/4" piece, and you can see the end here is a little kind of wrecked, but there's enough of it here I can cut off and use around the window as framework. Okay, so we'll get started here. Make sure the paint is, of course, and we want something here to dab off a little of the paint. And the biggest thing here, also make sure you paint your edges. The last thing you want to do is get the thing painted and then find out you've got your edges still look like cardboard. And it would also help me to see if I put my reading glasses on. And as I've said before, these are smaller, thinner cardboard boxes that we buy, those Special K protein bars, and it's perfect for the clapboards and other things. And I like them. They work really well. Again, we want to make sure you have the edges painted. If you do forget, and I have done this, I have forgotten to paint on occasion, you can get a gray or a darker colored marker and just run it down the edge. As long as you're not looking at, if it's like white, you're not seeing white, or you're not seeing the raw edge of whatever it is you're working on, or whatever it is you put on there. You want to make sure that it's covered with something so it's not glaring out at you, because that'll be the first thing you notice. It'll be sitting there and it'll drive you a little bit, crazy. And once it's glued into place, especially in the case of where I'm using these sheets for the brick, you don't want to risk getting the paper covered with paint. So you do it while you've got it out here, and then cut, and then of course before I glue, I'll be having to cut some of this, of course. So once I've made a cut, I'll be making sure the end is painted, either end that's going to be up, so that it won't be standing out. And there's that painted. Now we'll set that aside to dry. While that's drying, of course, I'll paint the rest of these off camera, but what I wanted to show you was how we do this, how I made these. You're gonna need a X-Acto knife, and you're gonna need a ruler. And I have this metal one here, and it has this rubber on the bottom, which is fine for some things, but when I'm using it for scoring or cutting, I like to flip it over so the knife blade isn't getting twisted kind of underneath. And then what we want to do, this is a 1/2 inch, so we want to make sure we, 1/2 a mark right there. Then I'll make a mark here at the other end, halfway through, halfway. Okay. And then I'm going to lay this down between the marks here, where I made my mark. You can use a pencil as long as it's halfway through. And then I'm going to take this and we're going to score this. You don't want to cut it all the way through. You want to just gently score this down. Make sure. Okay, and you might want to do it more than once. Don't push down too hard. You don't, again, you don't want to go all the way through. You just want enough to score that. I don't know, it might be hard to see. Okay, and then what I do is I set it aside on something on the edge and gently start folding it along the score mark right here. Okay, just gently fold it. And keep just kind of gently folding it until we make a nice 90 degree, a 90 degree. Okay, that's that easy. It's really easy. Well, hello, Shakoba. One of our dogs came in to say hello. And you can do the same thing with these. It's a little more difficult, as you can see. I just kind of, oh, hi, Amarok. Our other dog came wandering in. You can see I kind of messed up the end here a little bit when I was folding it. These are a little harder to fold. You want to be extra careful folding these. I'll be using them as, again, there'll be window trim in the window. It might be easier here on this one. They'll be sitting here, cut to fit, and painted, and they'll be used, whoops, to cover up, of course, the raw edge you're seeing here, and then, of course, it'll give a trim around the window. And I'll be doing that. I'll be painting these, and then, of course, we have to let them dry, and then we'll be doing them. I'll be cutting and fitting and putting them in. So that was that. And I'll be doing that, and we'll be back here in a little bit with them completely painted and dried, and we'll go from there. I had to restart a little bit here to start. Shop Kitty here decided that she needed to sit in the building. She just climbed in. So I'm in the middle of painting these, and she decided that it would be a good idea for her to climb in there and take a break. She is making sure everything is done properly. Okay, so I got some of the painting here done, and I did enough to show you what's going on here. I could do the whole thing, and it would take hours, but I'm showing you the basics here. Anyway, I painted these, and of course they were bent, and put them on, put this one on, and glued it in place. I glued this here. Now, one of these only goes so far, as you can see. Okay, it goes to there. Rather than do that and make it look kind of odd, I cut them in thirds, two of these up, to make it look like three sections here. Okay, you can see where they were cut here. Okay, bent them, put them, and one of these is going to be cut in the same thirds, and it's going to sit on top. So when it's going to look like a crown on there when it's done, and I'll be cutting that into thirds. But what I wanted to show you was, of course, the windows. the smaller pieces. I've test fit them here. I haven't glued them in yet to kind of show you what it looks like. Now, on a lot of older brick buildings, the header on top of the window was a lot thicker. You'll see that in some pictures, that the header was thicker. So I did something similar. I used a piece of that I had left over when I cut this and made the header. And then what I did was I did this piece and then test fit the two sides. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take these out, and I cut them specific and test fit for the side, so for where they're going to go. So I need to make sure I put them back in the same order. And this is tacky glue. I picked this up a long time ago. I've had it for a while. It still works. It's kind of fast drying. I didn't really want Elmer's on this. You can use super glue, I suppose, if you really wanted to. Kind of make sure I get the excess off. And then we're going to set that in place, fold it over, and hold it there for a few minutes, or a few seconds. And now it's glued in place. And we're going to do the same thing here with the bottom. A bit of tacky glue here. You're going to end up with fingers, glue everywhere on your fingers and whatnot, unless you wear rubber gloves. Paint and glue seem to be the thing here. I do this a lot. And that one is now glued into place, and we'll start the other side. And whoops. Okay, and then we'll get this one in here where it belongs. And you might have to hold those down and give it a little time to let me get this a little closer here so that they actually stay put. You might need to do that and keep them from coming back up. Might want to set something on there to help hold it down just slightly. And give it time. Get this in here. There we go. And I have one here that is not cooperating like I had wanted it to. There we are. And that is your basic window frame. It looks like, there we go. Now let this set that there for a second. Now, anyway, these are going to be covered here. I'm going to do the tops of these with these 45s as or what I bent here as I get there, and then these corners will be done as well as the rest of the window frames. Of course, the door frame will be done over here. And then, of course, we're going to do glass. Now, I did this one earlier. This is just a piece of plastic. As I've said in the last video, I save these from, I don't know what was in this, but it's clear plastic. And my attempt at doing a window, I was using a permanent Sharpie permanent marker here to make the window panels, I guess, I don't know what you call them, and that one of course kind of failed. This one turned out a lot better, and it's bigger than the window opening because it's going to set in there, and I have to glue both. I have to glue around it and a place for the glue to stay, so it's not. So we're going to put a little glue here on around this, and then we're going to hopefully put this in place. And I need to stand up for this. And there we have it. Okay, we have a window glass. I can make a slight adjustment on that because it's not quite as straight as I'd like it. And looking at this, I probably could have extended these out a little further on there, but that's fine for what I'm wanting it for. And again, this is going to be sitting back a ways on the layout, so I'm getting it, you know, doing what I can with it here. You can do how you want it. I found that tacky glue works pretty good. There's you can use super glue. You can use Elmer's. Just about anything really will work. You just want to try to not get it all over your rest of your work here. Later on, I'll take some black paint and dry brush some on this, what this concrete is here, to make it look a little dirtier. And I realized, of course, once I put this on, I made a mistake. I should have painted this here the light gray to make it look like the concrete foundation before I put the paper on. So I'm going to have to be real careful, and I don't want to put tape on this because it may peel it off. So I'm going to have to take a paintbrush really lightly and just really go over the edge here with it to make sure that it stays, you know, it looks like concrete. I can do it here on the sides. I intend to have some stuff here so you're not going to see it. Same with over here. And hopefully you won't see the back. So we're not going to worry too much about that. Once this is all done, of course it's going to have a flat roof that's going to set in a little bit lower in here. And again, these are going to go, whoops, this is for something else. Let me make sure I have what I need. One of these is going to go here, and then of course across the back and down this side, and then there'll be pieces up here. So next video, that is what you're going to see. I'm going to finish this up, the windows and the casements. I'm going to finish those up here later, and next video we're going to work on putting the roof in place. Now something I wanted to mention, you can do roof details. There's some O-scale stuff out there for roof details, or you can make your own. I was thinking about making a small roof access up here and possibly an air conditioning unit. Since this is a bakery back here in the back, it will have a smokestack coming up out the back of the building for, you know, the ovens. And it may have a couple of small smokestacks and whatnot on the roof for the apartments up here. So, and I still have to make the sign that's going to go here. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, click that like button down there and the subscribe button. And I wanted to say, you know, there's hundreds of videos out there doing scale model stuff, HO, O. There's probably some G scale, and I'm sure there's some N scale, and there's maybe even some old American Flyer S scale. And so I want to thank you for watching mine. Those of you who have subscribed, I just kind of mess around here. I enjoy doing this, and I'm shooting these mostly for people. Again, this is kind of model railroading on a budget. What you can do with what you have. Is some of my stuff over here perfect? No, I've made some mistakes here. I see them all over the place here. And you're going to as well. The thing is, if you haven't done this before, the way you get better is to keep doing it. Watch other people's work. Jason Jensen Trains, Foscale Models, Marklin of Sweden are the three I tote the most because they are the best of what they do. Oh, and Boomer Diorama. That guy is at the top of his field in this stuff. So you watch what they do. Now, again, they weren't perfect when they started either. They made mistakes. They've been doing it for years, and that's how they get better. It's repetition. You keep doing this. I learned some of my painting skills partly from my mother, who's an artist, and then, of course, I watched a lot of Jason Jensen's videos to learn what he did. He has an art degree. So he knows what he's talking about. He does a lot of the painting and whatnot on his buildings, and he does a really good job. Foscale Models, he does a lot of good landscaping, and Marklin of Sweden, he does a little bit of everything, and he's good at it. And again, Boomer Diorama, if you find him, he's right up there. He does a lot of his own scratch build stuff, and he had been in the business. I think he was in the film industry at one time doing miniatures. I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But the guy is at the top of his game. But he didn't start there. Nobody does. We all do this. We all start out. We're all going to make mistakes. So I'm shooting these mostly for the younger folks getting into it, and you know, they're frustrated because they oh my God, I'm not that good. I can't do that. Yes, you can. Okay, you're going to make mistakes. I am just getting back into the hobby after having been out of it since I was 15. I'm now 62, going on 63. A lot of this stuff, you know, when I did it the first time, it was HO. I basically had a track on a piece of plywood and a few buildings. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm doing this now, and I'm learning it too. So again, I want to thank you for watching my video. Like and subscribe, and just kind of follow along with what I'm doing here, because I'm having fun doing it, and you're going to see some mistakes. I make mistakes, we all do, and I just don't want anybody thinking they have to be perfect right off the bat, so don't get frustrated. Okay? Have a great day, and I'll see you later.